Okay, welcome back to Eye of the Storm. Today we're reviewing PaulAmerican. I've watched the entire HBO series from episode 1 to episode 8, and I'm just going to speak on some of the highlights of what I think, and I'll tell you my full thoughts at the end. But I really like the show. I love Jake Paul. I like Greg Paul a lot. I think if you watch the show, you'll find out that he's the actual star of the show. Greg Paul, for me, stole the show. Obviously, you have Jake, then Logan, then Utah, then Nina, and then Pam. Pam, she said some stuff. Greg said some stuff. Crazy. But I just want to go over some of the things I found interesting and make some commentary on them. So leave a like, subscribe. Let's get in.
Abhorrent amount of money on this wedding later this year. An amount of money that is like affecting my net worth. So
Logan spends a lot of time in the show. They went to Venice to look at the venue, and they were asking how much is it to rent out the entire state hotel resort, 150 bedrooms, and they're like $1 million. And Nina turns to him and says, "Yeah, that's your department." I'm like, bitch, for a wedding to you, Nina Agdal, like you have a reputation. You know what I mean? Like, not everyone gets to have their dream wedding. And just because you married Logan Paul, who happens to be a billionaire, doesn't mean that you get to have it either. But for someone to spend $1 million on 150 bedrooms, how many people are coming to this wedding? Is the entire WWE coming? Is Hulk Hogan coming? So I just found that to be very strange. And you can see him, and this is going to be a theme throughout the show. Logan is seen at many times to be emasculated. Even his father picks up on it and makes fun of him, does the pussy whip stuff. And here you can see him crying, like it's affecting my net worth. So he said on Impulsive that just the food.
The brunch is 132,000 euros. I can't afford that.
And stuff was over 200,000, some around that number, I forget. Although that wasn't spoken about in PaulAmerican, but when you think about it, the costs start to add up. If just the venue is over $1 million, and just the food and stuff is around 250,000, then travel costs, then entertainment, all these things. He's right that it's affecting his net worth because that's about 5-6 million in expenditure alone. It's like, come on, why are you pulling out all these stops for someone with whom you already have a child and who, the prime card taught us everything we need to know about Nina Agdal. So why do you have to do all this for her? Like, if she loves you, you can just have a normal, regular, routine wedding. She's not a celebrity like Logan is. Logan is a WWE superstar, famous podcaster, and all this kind of stuff. Nina is just a Sports Illustrated model from 10 years ago, like literally. So it doesn't mean that she gets to have a wedding that scares Logan into looking at his bank account and his net worth.
And I'm like, bro, I could get her a birthday gift, or just like we cherish the wedding.
Exactly. Cherish the wedding. Why can't we just do that? So, people give Logan a bad rap for kind of putting on an act and pretending. Like, you saw when he was talking about Black Lives Matter, even though he used to make fun of KSI, pointing his camera at other people and taking pictures of black people and saying, "Is this you, KSI?" But then he turns around to say, it's not enough to be not racist, you have to be anti-racist. All this stuff that he was saying. He still won't debate Candace Owens, even though Candace Owens is not the right person to have the conversation, but whatever. The point is that Logan puts on an air. Like, the persona of Logan Paul, that is this liberal, I'm not a sexist, I'm not a misogynist, I'm not a racist. That person is an act. This guy was raised by Greg Paul, so he knows what the right things are. He knows what the right things are to say. And you saw it here, where he says,
it's like we cherish the wedding.
Why can't we just cherish the wedding? That's exactly the kind of thing that Greg would say. But in order to put on an act, he has to go and meet this old woman and say, yeah, it doesn't matter that you've had like 700 boyfriends. I will kneel down before you and propose and give you a fairy tale wedding, even though you already have a baby, you're already pregnant. That's what Greg would say. Greg would be like, yeah, just get married and move on. Why does it have to cost 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 million? It's sad. I feel bad for him that he's stuck because it's like over the years he's been writing these checks, and now he has to cash them. Literally, he has to pay so much money.
I have a baby soon, and I think a lot of Pete.
These are old wives.
Dead. Is that vodka?
No, drink.
Don't look. Let me tell Greg what this is.
Okay.
So these are old wives.
Dead.
Oh yeah, this was the reason I started to watch this show very closely, and I was so annoyed with this clip. And this is exactly what I was talking about. Logan knows what the right thing is. He knows that it's wrong. It's not just wrong, it's sacrilegious for you to address your father by his name. But because Nina is there, and he thinks he's the big man in campus, the cameras are rolling, and then he thinks he can just call Greg Paul by his name. Like, who are you? What gives you the audacity? Like, even from here, I'm shaking for him. And I like the fact that Greg Paul checked him on the spot. Like, you've not earned that right. You can never earn that right. I brought you into this world. You should not have the effrontery to call me by my name. Who the hell are you? I found this clip, like, it was like traumatizing. He just can't.
Well, I'm never Greg to you. I'm always your dad.
Always your dad. Correct.
I feel like you're on a weird algorithm right now that you need to get out.
Yeah.
No.
I've had to be like, Greg, you gotta.
And that's the thing. Maybe I think clearly it's an American thing, but even this woman too doesn't have the right to call him Greg. You should find some kind of honorific, some kind of a reverent way to address the father-in-law. You just can't call him Greg. One, you're a baby compared to him, and two, you're a woman. Like, you can't be placing yourself on the same footing as a man, a father of millionaires. It doesn't make sense.
Tone it down.
How is it?
Perfect.
Okay, I think you gotta do an intro.
No.
What?
All right.
Tone it down.
Did you see that? Did you see that cold, calculated, immediate manipulation? Watch this, guys, very closely.
Perfect.
Okay, I think you gotta do an intro.
No.
What?
All right.
Just like that. Immediately he folded, and Greg clocked it. And she knows, and she's laughing at him. She's not laughing with him, she's laughing at him with everyone else. Oh, I've controlled this man. This man is under my spell. Look, everyone is laughing at this guy. So he's the fool here. He's the fool. Everyone is laughing at him, and she's joining in to laugh at him. And so that's why I ranked him pretty low in this show. I just found myself feeling bad for him the entire time, because the kind of specimen he is, with how good looking he is, his physique, his wealth, his work ethic, his net worth, he deserves better than this. He deserves to be in a relationship where he can actually assert masculine dominance. But here you have a woman who has had so many men, she's basically a man, and he is clearly the woman and the submissive in this relationship. You can see it. Even when they were looking at venues, she was the one giving instructions. Even when they were putting together the nursery, she was the one giving instructions. She controls him. People have talked about it way before now, but she controls him, she manipulates him, and it's unfortunate.
Ow! What a correction! Okay.
Guys, can you guys move this way just a little bit? Wait, why don't you do an intro?
Now you're
Wait, what?
paying for it. Shame.
Let's see who's crazy enough to fight me on 7 weeks' notice. Yeah, the news is true, folks.
JakePaul, my parry, the fight is on.
This fight is massive. It's a massive bit.
It's so funny. Whenever someone signs to fight Jake, you get these clips, you get this trailer. Oh, he's a bad person, he's a king of violence, he's a monster, he knocks out all these people, he's a champion, he's an elite world level athlete. As soon as Jake beats them, Michael Bisping and every other person, oh, Jake hasn't improved, oh, Jake is picking only MMA fighters, Jake is hand picking and hand selecting his opponents. But they all forget that even Ben Askren, wish him all the best, even Ben Askren, people like Sean O'Malley, UFC champion, Dana White, UFC CEO and president, came out and said, if Jake doesn't beat Ben Askren, he's not a legitimate boxer. They said that. They said these things. Jake beats the guy in less than 2 minutes, tops, and all of a sudden, oh yeah, Ben Askren is a wrestler. Oh, he's never thrown a punch in his life. He doesn't know what a punch is. And it's like, what? Dana lost $1 million on Jake Paul and still does his best to denigrate him. And so does everyone in the boxing commentary community, especially Michael Bisping. I don't understand that guy's obsession. He said it himself that he got a contract to fight Jake Paul and he turned it down. So if you can't fight the man, why do you keep speaking evil against him? I don't get it.
Mike's dangerous.
A UFC fighter who has transitioned to a bare knuckle fighter.
They call me the king of violence. My last fight, I beat a guy who had never been put down, and I knocked him out in 40 seconds.
Right. So this is a very bad person, and Jake dog walks this guy. So what are we saying?
Put some respect on my name, I'm telling you.
Mike.
That's Venom Page, and I think Venom Page should be a champion of maybe Bellator. So this guy is not a joke. Look at him spitting out blood. This is human blood on his hands.
Perry is the perfect opponent to keep fans happy up until Mike Tyson.
Who owns Combat Sports now? The king of violence!
He's a champion.
He has the same knockout power. He's on an 8-fight win streak. Everyone's saying I'm going to lose to this guy. And a fight with him is going to keep my skills sharp to prepare for Mike Tyson.
Tag on this bad boy. Doing stuff.
Bridesmaids,
So we're talking about Logan and Nina looking at venues.
and most of them are going to be gay guys.
Is this where she would hopefully say?
Did you hear that?
Have that many bridesmaids, and most of them are going to be gay guys.
Maybe that's a joke. Maybe. But with her, I don't think she has the nous to make such a joke. So it's probably true what she's saying. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. Gay guys on the bridal train. This is not who Logan is. And that's kind of the theme around Logan. When you see his father, you watch the show. When you see his father, when you see his upbringing, how Greg is a blue collar, hard work, hands on deck, hands on type person. Then his son is getting married to a woman who says her bridal train is just mostly gay guys. There's just a disconnect. So it's like Logan left Ohio and went to LA and became LA. Like he put on an LA shell in order to fit in, and then he's carried that on with him ever since. And like you can see it so clearly in this series.
Is this where she would hopefully say like I do and stuff?
This is pretty grand, babe.
As far as like venues go, this is like the cheapest that we're looking at now. What's the price tag on this bad boy?
This is a fantastic estate. Iconic views. Damn.
Oh my God. I didn't even know about this hotel. So we went scouting until I found out how much it's going to cost. How many rooms?
150, more or less.
And if we did want to book the whole thing, what's the price on that?
Over $1 million.
1 million. This is Italy, so you're looking at euros. This is 1 million euros, not dollars. Which is 1 million euros is roughly 1.6 million. Let's call it 2 million.
So if we want to film, we would have to spend $1 million.
We? Bitch, it's not your money. Who's we? Who the fuck is we? Listen, just watch this picture. Watch.
Have to spend $1 million. But that's your department.
Oh, look at him. So that was my problem with Logan in this show. I wanted to see him win. I wanted to see him triumph. I wanted him to build his character, see a different side, or see, shall I say, the real side of Logan Paul. But the real side of Logan Paul is told through Greg, not him. Look at this. He can't even speak up and say, no, fuck this. Why should I spend $2 million to marry a Leonardo DiCaprio castaway? Why would I do that? That's what this face means. That is the meaning of this face. If Nina was a high school sweetheart who saved herself for him and, is not pregnant with a baby on the way and, she's a virgin, even though he maybe did all that stuff, then he can say, yes, the whole villa, yes, we'll take the entire villa, we'll spend the millions. But yeah, Nina, like, someone was feeding you a strange alcohol while you're sitting on the floor in public. Like, you don't deserve to have $2 million spent on your venue. You're not that person. And Logan, you saw at the beginning of the video, he's crying that the expenditure is going to affect his net worth. You have to think about that very, very deeply. Ouch. So that was the theme. That was Logan's thing. Like, we just constantly felt bad for him. Jake, you could actually see a character arc where he confronts his dad about the alleged abuse, and clearly it was just the mom who fed him wrong information and convinced him to see, his dad's strictness as abuse, which is not abuse. Looking at the success that Jake has become, you can't call that abuse. You can only call that good, strong upbringing.
With anything in life, it's truly hard to trust the process, but at some point, if you want success, you have to surrender yourself.
Oh yeah, this is where Jake goes into this spiritual, what was it? Ayahuasca ceremony. I just find it strange, a bit occultish. Like at the Mike Perry fight, Jake was wearing like a pendant with a heather, or was it sage? And he was tapping. It's like, oh yeah, it's for good energy and calm. I'm like, what is Jake talking about? I find that fucking strange. I don't get all these things. I don't get them at all. But he's doing them. They're working. If they were supposed to work like 100% of the time, maybe the Tommy Fury fights wouldn't have gone the way it did, but it did go the way it did. And Jake, before that fight, he spoke about the ancestors. He makes references to those here as well. Talks about the ancestors and how they told him that he was going to win and stuff like this. But that did not pan out. So obviously I looked at it to see, if it makes sense, but it's really eerie. As a Christian man, it's difficult for me to put too much weight into these things. By the time you start having to take drugs to go on spiritual journeys, it's a little bit strange.
Something bigger. Once you finally give in,
it's just weird. Like, is this Native American? Is this Southern American? What is it? Like,
mind empties.
So you see that? Like, what is that? That is fucking scary.
Visions and God's voice start to come in. You see the crowd.
So manifestation is good, but I don't know. I just found it weird.
You see your family. You see your opponent. You see exactly what you're about to do. Party on Sunday, a post-fight day party. It's a darty, if you know anything about darties.
This is not just Puerto Rico. This looks like their house in Calabasas. This is a vlog days for sure. Right? Yeah, I saw Riley Reid just now. Yeah, that's Riley Reid. I recognize the tattoos. Man, these are classic days, bro. These vlogs were off the chain. Yeah, classic days. Yeah, let's watch this.
The stuff that I do remember.
And it would just beat me down.
She, the stuff that I do remember.
And it would just beat me down.
She was becoming the worst version of herself.
Did you hear that? So she said, beat me down. So women use physical words to explain emotional situations. So when they use a physical word, oh, this stuff beat me down, it translates to another person like violence. And then that violence translates to abuse. So you use abuse to cover the entire thing. And I say, well, I didn't touch you. Well, no, you emotionally abused me. That's the psychological game that she, as well as many other women, play. And if you watch the show, it fully played out. And I was really astonished that Greg had the fortitude to deal with that. And the way he held himself together, because, men are liable to crash out in things like this, wherein you think you've married somebody, your own idea is, no matter what, trials and tribulations, we're going to be together, we'll stay in the family for the children. Every guy, as soon as they make some money, it's like, oh yeah, now I can get a wife and kids. But women is like, oh yeah, there was this guy I saw last week, I fell in love with him immediately. Or there's this guy from 10 years ago, and I want to explore a moment that I had with him one night when we were looking at each other. So I will divorce my husband, abandon my children, and go and see what I can do with that person. Like, anybody listening to that has heard a story like that before, if they haven't experienced it themselves.
And know what? That is actually the stuff that I do remember, unfortunately.
I remember one time Pam threw Logan into the bed and his head hit the wall, put a ding in the drywall.
Yeah, and so you see that the mother was abusive, but she got the children to believe that it was the father who was abusive. In domestic violence, over 80% of the time, the woman is the instigator. She's the one who instigates the situation. That's why you always hear about, oh, the man, you're supposed to leave the house, you're supposed to get out of the house. It's like, as a man whose wife is being abusive to him at 11 o'clock at night, 1 a.m. in the morning, where the hell is he supposed to go? So if he goes out and tries to drown his problems in drink or other women, oh, he's a womanizing, alcoholic. And it's like, well, you didn't create a peaceful environment within my marriage, within my home, within my house, for me to be able to enjoy what I've put together in hopes of creating a family. But then when I step outside to go and have a drink or have a beer or something, oh, he abandoned you guys, he doesn't care about you guys. Oh man, it was really painful watching these segments of the show. It was.
The word divorce never had entered my mind before, and then all of a sudden I remember walking out in the garage one day and I thought to myself, I'm going to be divorced from this man.
And at one point she's like, I don't know if I ever love you, and I'm like, okay.
Do you see that? That's exactly what I said. She just woke up one morning and said, I'm going to divorce this person. No reason, no abuse, no nothing. It was just within her. Her conflict was within her. She didn't know how to deal with her own internal personal conflict, so she has to visit it on another person, to blame someone else for her own problems. When women divorce you, they've thought about it, they've planned it ahead. Coach Greg Adams says the divorce is planned before the wedding. That's what women do. They already have a rough idea of, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll just give this guy maybe 2 years. If the baby comes, okay, fine. They plan it. They know they have the exit strategy. Let me tell you why. From the age of 5, the age of 6, young girls are already thinking about their wedding. They're thinking about the kind of man they want to marry, whether you like it or not. They're thinking about their wedding day, the wedding dress. Oh, that's why you see women like on the TV and everywhere. So they say, oh, this is how I imagined my dress was going to be since the age of 8. Meaning that, and you as a man, what are you doing at the age of 8, 7, 6? What are you doing? You are not thinking anything like that. You're just figuring out your life, trying to have fun, playing, riding bicycles, playing sports. You're not thinking about, oh, this is how I want my wedding to be, and this is the type of woman I want to marry. You're not thinking about that. So a woman already has her game plan, and she is 10, 15, 20 years ahead of you. She's been thinking about it since she was 8. She knows the kind of dress she wants to wear at her wedding. Clearly, she knows the kind of man she wants to marry at her wedding. Then you just met that same woman. You met her, let's say, 2 years ago. Started dating, you become exclusive after 6 months. Then she starts telling you, oh, where is this relationship going? Let's go down the aisle, let's get married. Then you propose to her. You buy her a very expensive ring 6 months after, so that's a year. Then, obviously, you have to start planning the wedding. This motherfucker, Logan, is flying all the way to fucking Venus to rent out a $2 million hotel. Right? And then Pam is coming out one day in the garage to say, yeah, I never loved you. I don't think I ever loved you. How is this guy supposed to take that? How is he supposed to take it? So this 10, 15, 20 years of marriage is a lie. She orchestrated it. She orchestrated the destruction. It's astonishing.
Correct, Greg.
With your little sensitive mouth, isn't that cute?
This is gonna be too hot for you.
That's because he's a homo.
This is why I love Greg Paul. Let's hear that again. Come on.
Cute. With your little sensitive mouth, isn't that cute?
This is gonna be too hot for you.
That's because he's a homo.
So, do you see that? Nina gets it as a joke. Or maybe she's appalled or whatever. But she laughs out loud because it's funny. But this one, he has to put on the act for her and for the camera. Like, oh no, that's insensitive to the facts. It's like, no, it's funny.
You are out of control.
PCGP, as we call him now.
political correct Greg Paul.
Definitely have to worry about saying the wrong thing out of this whole group of people.
No. If I'm being truthful, I'll give HBO 1 season because you get us canceled. They'll be like, listen, he's the fucking liability.
Yeah, actually, that's true.
Listen, we're not going to get canceled because I'm bringing back fucking manly men.
Exactly. Like, I like the fact that Greg didn't look around at the cameras and the executives and say, "Oh, let me police my language. Let me not, say the things that are on my mind." Listen to him.
These younger women don't even know what a man looks like because none of them.
They'll be like, listen, he's the fucking liability.
Yeah, actually, that's true.
Listen, we're not going to get canceled because I'm bringing back fucking manly men. These younger women don't even know what a man looks like because none of them exist anymore. They're going to go to GP school, get some fucking trim.
Get some fucking trim.
You see that when they're confronted with the truth, that's the thing about liberals, and Logan is a liberal, whether he pretends to be or not. The thing about liberals is once you stand on your 10 toes, like Greg did
Truthful, I'll give HBO 1 season.
and you just hit them with the direct truth,
Because you get us canceled. They'll be like,
the
listen, he's the
immediate
fucking liability.
response is to walk away.
We're not going to get canceled because I'm bringing back fucking.
Because the immediate response is to walk away because there is no response to the truth. That's why when you see all these videos online, all it is, I can't answer these questions anymore. Like where they have those interviews. Because in the face of the truth, there is no response. There is no rebuttal. All they can do
manly men. These younger women don't even know what a man looks like because none of them exist anymore. They're going to go
is walk away.
to GP school, get some fucking trim.
And she really does look like Edge. Like, there's not even Edge. I thought that was Edge just now.
Get some fucking trim.
There's nothing they can do. He has to just walk away.
Listen, we can only get canceled if you guys are spineless enough to give in to the fucking spineless cancel culture.
No, HBO could cancel our show. We'll be fine, but they could cancel the show.
No, they fucking won't. HBO that was showing what Sopranos. Wasn't it on HBO? Sopranos? Like, what's this fucker talking about?
Oh, and in that way, we could actually be canceled.
Okay, it's true. Now this will all get cut, but maybe the HBO executives will see it and they'll go, the Pauls have been pushing through shit for years. Let's fucking stick with these guys, and we might reach some of the success that they are.
HBO could reach to cut, if I'm being honest.
I don't think it will.
One thing I've come to realize over the years is that you can't change Greg. Unfortunately, you
can't change Greg. You can't change Greg because Greg is in reality. He doesn't create fake issues to get behind. He doesn't create these fictions of racism or of feminism. These are fictions when you think about it. And someone like Greg, who people will call is politically incorrect, is just someone who says things in humor. He notices patterns and describes them with humor, right? So if a black person, or as I said, just someone who's not PC, just not Greg, but someone who's not PC makes a comment about a black person, it's a comment that is based on an established pattern of behaviors. But someone like Logan will call that racist, even though he has participated in the same activity before. So that's what I mean when I say that these people, they create a facade, they create a, what's the word I'm looking for? I'll call it a facade. It's a facade. There's a kernel behind, but they deny reality and they prefer to work within the fiction. The fiction of Hollywood, the fiction of executives, we're going to get cancelled. It's like, and you're talking about HBO. HBO 10, 15 years ago was airing shows like Sopranos where they killed someone for being gay, where they make comments about Jews, where they make comments about blacks. The same HBO, 10 years later, they're saying you get cancelled. Why?
It's been this way my whole life, and I've come to accept that.
So you see the problem. So he's been in LA for the past, let's call it 14 years, right? 14, 15 years. And then the fiction of LA and political correctness and liberalism is now overshadowing, he's now looking at his upbringing through that lens. Oh, it's Greg. He's insensitive, he's politically incorrect. It's like, no, he's just somebody who lived in real America, who has to rely on core values based on reality. And he's raising his children in that light. But Logan, is looking at all that through the prism of liberal California. It's strange.
But I think him and Jake have a trickier relationship.
My dad. Where do I begin? The road is getting smoother and smoother, but it wasn't easy for so many years because of all of our traumas and all of our bold, stubborn personalities clashing together.
And it's like, come on, man. My dad would slap the shit out of me. It's like, well, if you're talking rubbish, you get slapped. If you misbehave, if you do the wrong thing, you get hit. It's normal to discipline your children. All this slap the shit out of me, domestic abuse, physical abuse, it's not real. It's called discipline.
My dad and Jake's biggest rift.
Like, come on. And it was a shame. It was a shame, really, when he comes out to try to air out his dad, just to be able to say, oh, this happened to me. And Jake should know better than to try to affect his dad's brand, because, like it or not, Greg has a brand. And this claim, I'm not saying Jake wasn't touched, but to paint it in such a light, like, you could literally say, my father was a strict disciplinarian. And he, you say it like in the black way, the way black people say it. Like, oh, my dad would whoop me when I was being rude, or, when I did bad things, and he guided me, on the straight and narrow with an iron rod, or, a switch or something. But to start using these flowery, feminine terms to say, oh, he physically abused me, it's like you are painting your father in a bad light, and basically you are creating a narrative instead of just telling your story, if that makes sense. Like Jake, as I said, Jake should know, because he's faced, falsehoods, false narratives, false allegations his whole life. As soon as he started getting famous, people came out to say terrible things. Like with the Martinez twins, he would do something with them, and they'll be fine with it. They'll be okay with it. They'll make the money from it. Then tomorrow, when they are asked about it, they'll say, oh, Jake forced us to do this stuff. Same thing with the women as well. So you have a situation where someone does something with you in your best interest that reaps dividends. Then in 2023, a few years later, you come out and say physical abuse, he'd slap the shit out of me. It's like, you have to find your way to protect your family. If your dad was, overbearing, there are ways to speak about it. You can just say he was a very strict disciplinarian. You can say those words, and the people should be able to glean whatever sordid details they want to glean in order to print on the newspaper.
Came because my dad refused to acknowledge the idea that he was physical with us when we were younger.
He was physical with us. It's like, he's not going to deny that, right? Greg's not going to deny that, because that's how he was raised. But to start going to the media and trying to get the media to legislate a parent raising their child, I think is silly, childish, feminine, most importantly.
To me, abuse is things that are over the top, going way beyond, things you're doing out of anger. And they knew when I was in there, I'm working. They'd come in and I'd be on a business call and I'd fucking grab something and fucking chuck it at them. Like, shut the fuck up, I'm on the phone.
Buckets, books, paperweights, just whatever's on his desk. Just shut the fuck up, throw it.
Okay, so what's the problem? Father says, don't disturb me, I'm working, trying to pay the bills and keep us in the house. And you are going there and ruining his business call. What are you doing?
Throw something at us.
As a parent, if you're not chucking shit at your kids, you're doing it wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Logan would try to stand up to my dad when he started to get older, but my dad was basically like, yo, let's fucking fight. Like, I'll still beat your ass.
Yeah. Yes. And you saw that earlier in the video, right? Where Logan, now because he's big and Greg is old, is now referring to his father by his first name. And his father had to check him. Like, that's real. That was a real moment. That wasn't, TV, HBO. That was real. Like, who the fuck do you think you are speaking to me so rudely? Because that is rude. So Logan has always had that sense of entitlement that I can stand up to my father. It's like, no, you fucking can't.
Like, who the fuck do you think you are standing up to me?
Exactly.
I brought you into this world.
Exactly. Like, these are all facts. So this is what I was saying, that Greg is someone who deals in factual reality. I brought you into this world, therefore I am superior to you. Therefore, you shouldn't speak to me or stand up to me as though we are equals. That's the point here that I think these younger kids are finding it difficult to understand. Jake and Logan are between millennial and Gen Z. So maybe they don't understand fully what that means, because as a Gen Xer or a boomer, boomers understand this much better.
Then I can take you out of it.
Yeah.
That was his saying, and it didn't hurt my brother as much. I don't think he feels things as deeply as I do. Like, I didn't know what emotions were until I did shrooms for the first time when I was, like 20 years old.
So that was kind of my issue. But as I said, Jake did very well. Greg, as I said, is number one. Jake is number two on this show. Because with Jake, you could see an arc. You could see the misunderstandings. You could see the narrative spin. You could see how his mother fed him lies, or twisted his memories in order for him to come up with a narrative of abuse and stuff. But the whole thing of shrooms and ayahuasca, it shows a conflict within Jake that he's struggling to resolve. So I thought that was interesting. Like, it humanized him a bit more.
It's just been a journey to shed that skin and to learn how to manage it. And
so I guess this is them going to take ayahuasca. I won't put it too much, but basically he tried to get his dad to take ayahuasca so his dad could come to the realization that he's wrong for disciplining his child. And I just found it very funny. But they did it, and Greg felt nothing, and it was like, oh, am I spoiling it? I don't want to spoil it, but yeah.
But for me, this.
And you can see Greg. You can see him doing his best. Let's listen to this. I think this is a little bit important.
But for me, as far as I'm concerned, yeah, I think I was a great dad. When you come from a divorced family, having a family that works is kind of like a dream. The truth of the matter is that nobody trains us for marriage. The fact that people think they can make it in marriage when they don't have good role models is kind of a joke. You start dating our high school sweethearts, and one thing led to another, and boom, here we are.
Logan.
So Logan comes out good looking, and I'm like, oh, cool, it's a baby, yay, And then the first time I grabbed him, I was just like, holy shit, this is my baby, this is my kid.
Oh, there's Logan getting the cigar. There goes Logan. Bye, Logan. Logan was just over a year, and I took a pregnancy test. I had missed a period. It definitely took Greg by surprise. He was not ready for a second child. I had Logan take the pregnancy test over to him in the kitchen, and sorry, Greg, but he threw it across the room.
She said she gave you the pregnancy test and you threw it.
I don't remember that. I wonder why would I throw it? I don't know.
Yeah, I sound biased. I'll sound biased, but I don't think that's true. Or shall I say, yeah, I don't think that's true. And B, I believe Greg. And I think this story, where she gives Logan the pregnancy test at the age of maybe 1, right? Because she gives Logan the pregnancy test at the age of 1, and Logan walks up to the father and hands it to him, and then he throws it. It just doesn't make sense. It seems like it's a story that is crafted from her mind. Because a 12-month, 13-month-old child, baby, is not going to have the faculties. Let's call him 18 months. He's not going to have the faculties to, walk with the thing and hand it over. It doesn't make sense. So I think she came up with that because she's a writer, so it's natural for her to come up with things like this. Women are writers. They write things, whether on paper or not.
After that, it was one of those moments. I was like, yeah.
There's Jake. There you go. Thank you very much.
Hey, little man. Hey, little man.
Back anytime.
How you doing, buddy?
Hi. Hello. Give me big smiles. Give me big smiles. Yeah.
I can't seem to really ever remember our family being together. I only remember them post-trauma and divorce, volatility.
By the time they were like kindergarten, second grade is when Greg and I started having our troubles. That took over. That, like, they did this with Greg and this with me kind of thing. This with me kind of thing.
As an adult now, I can try to understand him more. It's clear that power to him is a big thing. And with that comes control. When he had like a submissive person like my mom, he was able to kind of like dictate exactly what she does with her life.
That's exactly what a husband is. And you can see how they're using this word of power and control. It almost sounds like racism all of a sudden. And that's really the problem here. These kids are twisting reality and fictionalizing reality with words. Basically, in normal human being speak, Greg was a man and his wife was a woman, and they were in a marriage with a clear and stated and understood hierarchy. What the man says goes, the woman follows, and the children behind. That's it. But you can see how Logan is describing it as power and control. So power, control, then you can talk about manipulation. You see how that works. So you have these words that just meander around the truth, and then it creates a separate narrative all on its own.
I don't think I realized how much it was stifling me.
Yes, women get stifled by marriage. That's why 80% of divorces are brought by women. They don't like being married. They just like weddings, but they don't like being married. That's clear as day.
I had friends tell me, well, we knew Greg treated you like shit. We just thought you're okay with it.
It's like, what? When she's going to ask her friends that question, she's going to ask, and you can see that the friends were answering a leading question. The question she asked her friends that received that answer that she just told us is clearly a leading question, because that's the way the question was answered. Trust me, I know how to ask questions, and I know how questions are answered, and I know how to get the answers I want from the questions that I do ask. That's my job. So clearly, I have zero doubt in my mind that she just felt something and wanted somebody else to validate what she feels. So she goes and she asks the question in a way that the person is going to give the answer that she wants, so that it will look as if she's getting feedback from a third party, outside, objective, quote unquote, person, but she's influenced that person to give her the answer that she wants to hear. It's basic manipulation, very elementary.
I felt very controlled, disrespected. I did not feel appreciated.
I hearing these words: controlled, disrespected. I did not feel appreciated. Do any of these things translate to abuse? Does it translate to abandonment? Does it translate to abandoning her or abandoning his marital role as a husband, the provider of a home, and amenities for the wife and the children and food and all that stuff? She said disrespected, controlled. What was the other word?
Tell me, well, we knew Greg treated you like shit. We just thought you're okay with it. I felt very controlled, disrespected. I did not feel appreciated.
What does that mean? Disrespected? How?
And I certainly didn't feel...
What does that mean? Disrespected, unappreciated. We use these words, or should I say, they use these words. They throw them around a lot. They craft a narrative, because it all, trust me, it all translates to abuse. Even though each of those words mean different things, like disrespected, unappreciated, and controlled. 1, manipulation, right? 2, psychological abuse. Disrespected could be emotional abuse, So instead of them using those words to make the accusation directly, they use other fake words to make you think those things, even though that's not what they're saying. It's the highest level of manipulation known to man, trust me, where the words are spoken, but because of your comprehension, you are reading meanings to the words that are not being said. So it's just designed to elicit an emotional response. They're not saying the words to convey the reality, they're saying the words to elicit your emotion. It's rudimentary manipulation, but it's at the very highest level.
Like, Greg thought I was a good parent. I was disrespected. I did not feel appreciated. And I certainly didn't feel like Greg thought I was a good parent.
Okay. Did you hear that? I did not feel like Greg thought I was a good parent. None of those two things is based in reality. They're not based on something Greg said or something Greg did. They're not based on something that she experienced, she witnessed. It's a feeling of somebody's thoughts. I did not feel that Greg thought. None of this is in reality. It's not contained in reality. But you, as a man or as some other rational human being, you would hear that and you believe that, oh, surely she's not making this up. Surely she's not conjecturing this out of nowhere. Surely there must be something that invites her to feel the way she does. She's not just talking out of thin air. But me, I've learned that you have to take these people at their words. If their words don't indicate reality, it's because it's not based in reality. How can you feel that someone thinks? Is she reporting to you that Greg said you are not a good parent? No, she didn't say that. And I don't think Greg would say that because, for God's sake, as a married man who's working very hard and you have children, all you have is your wife. You don't. your wife is basically what is keeping you alive. How will I put it? Like, whatever it is that you think you are as a man, as a family man, it is your wife is the linchpin of that, let's call it the empire, let's call it that thing that you've built. Your wife is the linchpin. So it's going to be strange and counterproductive for Greg to turn to that woman and say you're a bad parent, which he didn't. Greg never did. She just feels that he thinks that, which is very fucking strange. That's from an outside person, but clearly looking at her, you can tell that it is just from her own inadequacies that she's now projecting that onto somebody. You don't think I'm good enough. Did I say you're not good enough? Well, you looked at me like I'm not good enough. That's how
I felt bad. I felt I was being verbally abused. There was a lot of yelling.
I felt I was being verbally abused.
Certainly didn't feel like...
And by the way, abuse, as like the word has no meaning when you think about it. Like, unless it's like drug abuse, which is it's still subjective because basically, if you take medication without a prescription, that is drug abuse. So, when you think about it, like, what then is drug abuse if it's so ubiquitous? So the point is that abuse is an amorphous word. It doesn't mean much, but it does evoke an emotional reaction and people use it for that effect. That's the point.
Greg thought I was a good parent. I felt bad. I felt I was being verbally abused. There was a lot of yelling and screaming and it would just beat me down.
Oh my God. Did you hear that? She said, I felt like I was verbally abused. Watch. Then she says, there was a lot of screaming and yelling. There was. She didn't say, Greg was screaming and yelling at me. She didn't say that. She said there was. Because she is the one actually doing it. But in order to disguise the story for you, the HBO audience, she would say there was. So she prefaced it so that when she later mentions the screaming and the yelling, you would assume that it's coming from the person who is being verbally abusive. But it's not. It's coming from her. Clearly. We've studied too many of these cases to be deceived by what she's saying. We can see through it.
Beat me down.
She was becoming the worst version of herself. And you know what? That is actually the stuff that I do remember, unfortunately.
I remember one time when Pam threw Logan into the bed and his head hit the wall, put a ding in the drywall.
The word divorce never had entered my mind before. And then all of a sudden I remember walking out in the garage one day and I thought to myself, I'm going to be divorced from this man.
And at one point she's like, I don't know if I ever love you. And I'm like, okay, that's a bunch of bullshit. You
A bunch of bullshit. Yeah, correct.
You did at one point.
We got in a fight on November 21st, 2001. He had his finger in my face yelling at me. And he said, if you were a guy right now, I'd punch you.
Okay. This is a very good time to address this. Because I said something on Twitter regarding Tank Davis, who is in jail, or who was in jail, for alleged domestic violence against his girlfriend, mother of his children. And I said that a woman who is dating or has some kind of relationship with a boxer or a champion should be the last person to experience domestic violence, because she should know that the person she's dealing with is a boxer, is a dangerous person. This guy knocks men out. He beats people. So why do you think you have the temerity, the effrontery to talk and provoke this person into physical violence? We'll get back to Greg in a minute because he didn't hit her. But just to address the Javante thing, this is a man, you are a woman, and you go to the police and you report that he domestically abused you or whatever. Physical. The story is that she alleges that he punched her on her head or somewhere like this. And my thing is, the person who goes and reports that they've been physically abused in the domestic setting never tells the police or whoever she's going, whether she doesn't tell us online, she doesn't tell the police that, yeah, he came back and I was talking a lot of nonsense. I was saying all kinds of nonsense to him. I was insulting him, insulting his legacy, insulting his pride, his manhood. I was insulting him and abusing him, the real word. That's, when you insult somebody and degrade the person and you have these biting words that hurt, a man's soul. We've covered that on this channel before. So, of course, a man has to stop the violence, the assault. A man has to stop the assault that is coming his way. This woman is trying to destroy his soul with her evil words, and he has to shut her up. Because, as I've always said, obedient women don't get hit. Obedient women don't get yelled at. That's the simple truth here. In this case, with Greg, she says, let's listen again.
On November 21st, 2001, he had his finger in my face yelling at me. And he said, if you were a guy right now, I'd punch you.
Okay, good. Thank you. Now, she doesn't tell us what led up to that moment. She's only taking a slice of the moment, of the things that happened. She's only taking that slice and saying, this man wagged a finger in my face and said that if you were a man, I would have beaten you. So the question is, what provoked him to that stage? What did you do? And we must learn how to ask women this question. Because as the great Jesse Lee Peterson once said, a man doesn't just come home from work and the dutiful wife kneels down in front of him and says, oh, my husband, thank you, welcome home. And then he starts beating or abusing her. That doesn't happen. That is impossible to happen. Men, for the most part, are reasonable creatures. We're not brutes. We're not savages. We're not animals. We will only respond when someone does something stupid and when we don't want something idiotic to happen anymore. So if Greg is telling you that if you're a man, I would have attacked you or I would have done something to you, that means that he is so enraged that the only way to, and not only is he enraged, he is hurt by what he's hearing from you or what you are doing. He's hurt by it. And the only way to assuage that hurt is to hit you. But he shows restraint in telling you that if it was a man saying these horrible, terrible things to me, that man would have been knocked out. So Greg has the capacity to even withhold his temper and say and have the composure to tell her, look, the things you are saying to me, if a normal man says these things to me, I will beat that person. But you, because you're my wife, because you're a woman, because I love you, I'm not going to do that to you. And she's calling that abuse. She cannot describe to us the things that she did, the things that she said to get him to that point where he physically has to point to her and say, look, I would do terrible things to you if you were not a woman. Can she tell us, will she tell us the things that she said to get him to that point? Let's watch.
And that was it.
Exactly. She wouldn't. She can't, because it's her fault. She is the one who pushes him to get him to that point so that she can justify leaving, because she always wanted to leave.
I knew verbal abuse is one thing, but I wasn't going to that next stage.
You didn't get to that next stage, madam. You didn't get to that next stage. He didn't hit you. He never did. So what the fuck are you talking about? Come on.
Severed my heart.
I don't want to do too much. Maybe copyrights, maybe spoilers. Well, let's hear Greg. Let's give Greg the last word.
Tried divorcing me, and it turned out to be very true. It was very, very torturesome.
They understand what was happening?
Yeah, they did, because Greg made sure they did. In every negative way possible.
I don't know if there's like really anything scarier than watching your parents really fight. Like really fight.
It was almost like this survival mode, cops being called and constant manipulation on both sides.
It was tough. She was trying to fuck with me, trying to get the boys, trying to take them from me.
Yep.
I wasn't having that.
At the time.
So whenever the man fights back and says, I have the right to raise these children, these boys, women cannot raise boys. Honestly, they can't raise anything. The minute he stands up for himself and takes a position, it becomes, oh, he's aggressive, oh, there's a fight. It's not a fight. The woman says she wants to leave. Leave. Fuck right off. You want to leave the marriage, you want to destroy the family, you go. I will stay back. I will continue this family. I will raise these children, and they'll become millionaires. You go and get married to some fucktard wherever you want to go.
I am writing a book about. How's your day? I guess I don't really want to call it a biography because that's not what the purpose is. But I've learned as I'm writing it that you have to go back and start at the beginning of your story. I probably have 120 voice memos of just things I want to be in the book, to come out in the book, to make the message clear. Lots of people tell me I should do it. I've got a good support team behind me saying, yes, yes, yes. People will like your story. They'll love your story. Do it. So
that's the magic of getting married. You get married to a woman, you love her, right? Where is that? You get married to a woman, you love her, then all of a sudden she's writing a book saying that you're abusive, and she's gathering people to tell her, yes, write the book, let the book come out and paint your husband in a terrible light. It's guys, I don't know what you guys are doing, but I have people. Try to tell people things like this. They don't listen to me. It's whatever, man. With men, the reason why there's so many problems with men, people like me, people like Coach, everyone tells men, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, but they still go ahead and do this. And for men, including me, experience is the best teacher. It's only when you experience something that you learn a lesson. And sometimes in life, you learn the lesson again. And if you keep having to learn the same lesson over and over again, that's when you fall, that's when you die. You have to learn, you have to make the mistake, then you learn the lesson and make sure the mistake doesn't happen again, so you don't have to repeat the lesson. And you can live your life. And I love this story. I mean, it's a dark, difficult story for him to live through. But I'm so glad that he told it. I'm so glad that he stood up for what was right. Because only God knows, if that woman had taken these boys at such a young age, maybe 6, 5 years old, maybe they will be homosexuals by now. Because it's women who are raising homosexuals. Where do they learn how to put on makeup and take on feminine airs? It's women who raise homosexuals. Like, homosexuals are created by women. Think about it. So, thank God, Greg stood his ground and said, no, I will not let my children become homosexuals. And here we are. Jake is a world-class boxer. Logan is a world-class wrestler. It worked out. Honestly, I don't want to do too much because, copyright reasons. Leave a like, subscribe, watch the show. It's very, very good.
After centuries of sleep, of nothingness, I have returned. Something comes back to me. I was great once. Feared. Yes. Once I was strong. Powerful beyond measure. Beyond imagining. So weak now. Must find blood.
The best guy at synthesizing this stuff, because he's just been hitting these things out of the park.